12 songs. You know every single one of them. You've probably heard each of them hundreds of times. Some of you know every word, but here's what you don't know: the name of the person who actually sat down and wrote it. And in several cases on this list, that gap between writer and performer isn't just surprising, it's almost impossible to believe. Some of these songs were written by people who weren't in the band. Some were passed over and handed off. Some were written by names you'd never put within a mile of a rock stage. You think you know your records? By the end of this, you're going to be double-checking everything. Let's go to number 12. Number 12, Blinded by the Light, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Writer, Bruce Springsteen. You know this song, the layered keyboards, the swirling production, the vocal that sounds like it's fighting its way out of the mix. And that lyric, the one you've been singing wrong for 40 years. But here's what most people don't know. They've never heard the version by the person who actually wrote it. Bruce Springsteen wrote Blinded by the Light in 1973. It appeared on his debut album, Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, a record the label wasn't quite sure how to sell. Too wordy, too dense, too everything. His version never charted in any meaningful way. 4 years later, a British band called Manfred Mann's Earth Band covered it. They rearranged the whole thing, extended it, built that massive keyboard swell. We changed some of the words in the process, and that's where the famous misheard lyric was born. What they built was an entirely different piece of music, longer, stranger, almost dreamlike compared to the Springsteen original. Their version hit number 1 in the United States in 1977, the same year Springsteen released Darkness on the Edge of Town, the year he was becoming one of the biggest names in rock. And in there somewhere, a song he'd written as a young kid from New Jersey, a song that had done nothing for him, went to number 1 for someone else. Most Americans who know Blinded by the Light have never heard the Springsteen version. Some of them don't know it exists. That's how a debut album throwaway becomes someone else's defining hit. Number 11 is a song that feels like it could only belong to one artist, except it doesn't belong to her. Number 11, I Love Rock and Roll. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts writers, Alan Merrill and Jake Hooker, The Arrows. You home, where we can be alone. That 3-chord stomp, that swagger that doesn't apologise for a single second. Joan Jett's voice on the opening, and you're already in. I Love Rock and Roll feels like it was assembled from pure attitude, like it could only have been written by the woman singing it, except it wasn't. In 1975, a British musician named Alan Merrill was sitting at home watching the Rolling Stones perform It's Only Rock and Roll on television. He picked up a guitar and wrote his own declaration, a response to what he'd just seen. Merrill was in a band called The Arrows. They recorded the song that year. It got some airplay in the UK. It didn't cross over, but it was real and it existed. In 1976, Joan Jett was in England and saw The Arrows perform the song on a television programme. She remembered it. 5 years later, after being turned down by more than 20 record labels, after being told repeatedly she wasn't what the industry wanted, Joan Jett recorded her version with the Blackhearts, and in 1982 it went to #1 in the United States, stayed there for 7 weeks. If you were alive and near a radio in those 7 weeks, you know exactly what that felt like. Alan Merrill wrote that song. He watched Joan Jett become a rock icon with it. He talked about it for decades, not with bitterness exactly, but with the quiet, specific knowledge that the thing he built had a life he wasn't really part of. If you've ever made something and watched someone else get the full credit for it, you know that particular silence. At number 10, same situation, but this one's going to sting differently.
On the hills with me, yeah, me, and I could tell it wouldn't be.
Real talk, only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it.
Number 10, Alone, Heart. Writers Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly. Alone is on every greatest rock ballads list that exists. It made the case in 1987 that Heart wasn't finished, that they could compete with anything on radio. Rock fans claim it hard, but Alone was written by Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly, and here's why that matters. Steinberg and Kelly were professional songwriters, not rock musicians, not members of any band. They wrote for whoever needed the song. In 1984, they wrote Like a Virgin for Madonna. In 1986, True Colours for Cyndi Lauper, the one that made her cry on playback. They wrote Eternal Flame for the Bangles. They worked for pop. They worked for R&B. And when Ann Wilson recorded Alone, it went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And here's what doesn't get said enough. It doesn't actually matter who wrote it. Ann Wilson's performance is so committed, so complete, that the song feels like it came from somewhere inside her. She made it entirely her own. That's not a small thing. That's actually the whole job. But the next time someone dismisses Alone as too polished or too pop for a real rock band, you can ask them what they think about True Colours. You don't know how long I have waited. Same writers, different singer, both of them real. Number 9 involves a song you love, a guitar riff you know by heart, and a man who almost lost his house. Number 9, Boys of Summer, Don Henley, writer, Mike Campbell, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Remember how you made me crazy? Remember how that opening guitar, that specific quality of late August sadness. Boys of Summer is the sound of looking back at something that's already over and feeling the full weight of it. One of the most recognisable guitar figures in the whole decade. Nobody on the road, nobody on the... Don Henley wrote the words, that part's true, but Mike Campbell wrote the music, and if you're nodding, you're ahead of most people in this room. Mike Campbell is the guitarist for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. In the early 1980s, he was home alone with a new Linn drum machine, staying up all night experimenting. He built the drum pattern, the synth lines, that guitar riff, the whole skeletal thing. Then he brought it to Tom Petty. Petty heard a chord in the chorus that didn't sit right with him, called it a little jazzy, passed on it. Producer Jimmy Iovine, who was in the room that day, called Campbell later, told him he had someone who might want it. Campbell changed the chorus chord to something more uplifting, put it on a cassette, and went to Don Henley's house. They sat at opposite ends of a long table. Henley listened with his eyes completely closed and said almost nothing. Then a few days later, the phone rang. "I just wrote the best song of my life to your music." That was Boys of Summer. Tom Petty was in a car with Campbell during the Southern Accent sessions when the song came on the radio, then came on again on the next station. Petty told him, "Boy, you were really lucky with that one. I wish I'd had the presence of mind not to let it get away." A heartbreaker wrote the heart of that song, and almost no one outside of music nerds knows it. Number 8, one of the most iconic songs of the 1960s, and the name most people associate with it isn't the person who wrote it. Number 8, Somebody to Love, Jefferson Airplane. Writer, Darby Slick. Summer of Love, 1967. Grace Slick's voice doing something no voice had done before in rock music. Somebody to Love, Jefferson Airplane. The swirl, the urgency, that raw, searching energy. You hear it and you're in San Francisco whether you were there or not. Most people assume Grace Slick wrote it. She's singing it. It came out of her body. It has to be hers. She didn't write it. A man named Darby Slick wrote Somebody to Love. Darby was the brother of Jerry Slick, who was Grace's husband at the time. He had a band called Great Society, and Grace Slick was in it before she joined Jefferson Airplane. He wrote the song for that band. They recorded it in 1966. When Grace Slick moved over to Jefferson Airplane, she brought 2 songs with her from Great Society, Somebody to Love and White Rabbit. White Rabbit, she wrote herself, that's hers. Somebody to Love belongs to Darby Slick, and Darby Slick became not a rock legend, not a documentary subject, not a name on any classic rock wall of fame. Don't you want somebody to love? He became a music teacher. He became a footnote in the history of a band that performed the most famous song he ever wrote, forever associated with someone who didn't write it. Somebody to love. Don't you need somebody? You can put one of the most recognised songs of the 20th century into the world and end up essentially invisible. Some of you all are thinking about someone right now who fits that exact description. Don't you need somebody to love? Number 7. This one went to court, and the answer is messier than you'd expect. Number 7. Creep. Radiohead disputed writers Albert Hammond Sr. and Mike Hazelwood added as co-writers Tom York hitting that chorus like it was pulled out of him against his will. Johnny Greenwood's guitar doing that violent, necessary thing before the release. Creep arrived, and it hit people in a very specific place, the one you don't talk about at parties. For a certain generation, it was the song. Special. Now look at the official songwriting credits. Tom York, Johnny Greenwood, Colin Greenwood, Ed O'Brien, Phil Selway, and Albert Hammond, and Mike Hazelwood. Those last 2 names don't belong in a Radiohead conversation, but there they are. You're just like an angel. In 1974, the Hollies released a song called The Air That I Breathe, written by Hammond and Hazelwood. I wanna have control. The chord sequence, the specific emotional arc of it, now the way it moves and resolves, was similar enough to Creep that they filed a claim. Radiohead pushed back. Couldn't look you in the eye. In 2017, Tom York described what happened as being forced into it. Strong-arm tactics, he called it. They settled. Hammond and Hazelwood got their names on the song. And here's the part that keeps working on me. Albert Hammond Sr., the man who took co-writing credit on Creep, is the father of Albert Hammond Jr., the guitarist for The Strokes, who came out of the same downtown New York indie underground that Radiohead helped define. Same sonic lineage, different generation, credits running in both directions through the family tree.
When I'm not around.
If you've ever had someone put their name on something you made, something that came from somewhere real inside you, you know why York is still talking about it 30 years later. Okay, the next 5 are different. Stay with me on this.
Special.
Number 6, We Built This City. Starship lyricist Bernie Taupin with Martin Page, Dennis Lambert, Peter Wolf. You already know where you are with this one. 1985. Starship, the keyboards, the saxophone, the chorus that's been living in your head since the day you first heard it, whether you wanted it there or not.
Say you don't know me.
We built this city on rock and roll. It gets voted worst rock song ever on a semi-regular schedule. Whatever you think of it, you have an opinion, and it's not mild. But who wrote the words? Bernie Taupin wrote them. That Bernie Taupin, Elton John's lyricist, the man behind Rocket Man, Tiny Dancer, Crocodile Rock, Benny, and the Jets. Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, one of the most celebrated lyricists in the entire history of rock music. He co-wrote the song with Martin Page and a couple of others, and Taupin knows exactly how this looks. He's acknowledged in interviews that it's not his proudest work. He's been honest about it in a way that's either refreshing or alarming, depending on your mood. But here's the thing about professional songwriters. They write songs. Not every room produces Tiny Dancer. Not every session ends in something timeless. We built this city on rock. Sometimes you write the thing that goes to number 1 in 1985 and gets debated every decade for the next 40 years. The same brain that wrote Rocket Man wrote We Built This City. Both of them went to number 1. Both of them are still playing on the radio right now. That tells you more about the music industry than any other single fact on this list. We built this city on rock and roll. Number 5, a song that started with Bruce Springsteen, and then was thrown away, and then became something else entirely. Number 5, Because the Night, Patti Smith Group, writer Bruce Springsteen, unfinished, completed by Patti Smith.
Till the morning comes. Come on now.
In 1977, Bruce Springsteen was deep in the sessions for Darkness on the Edge of Town. Hundreds of songs, long nights, most of them got cut. One was a half-finished piece.
Come on now, try and understand.
Music mostly built, the chorus in place, the verses still just mumbled placeholders. A song about desire and shelter and the night. He set it aside. It wasn't there yet. He moved on. Jimmy Iovine was the engineer on Springsteen's sessions. He was also producing Patti Smith's album Easter in an adjacent room of the same studio at the same time. He heard the unfinished demo. He brought it to Smith. She initially said no. She wasn't interested in someone else's song. Then she listened again. And one night, in a waiting for a long-distance phone call from the man who would become her husband, Fred Sonic Smith of the MC5, she wrote the verses, finished the whole thing. They recorded it within days. Because the Night hit the top 15 in the United States in 1978.
The telephone Love is in it.
It became the biggest commercial hit of Patti Smith's career, her one real mainstream radio moment, the song that introduced her to people who hadn't been looking. And Springsteen himself has said it plainly. It would still be in my archives if it wasn't for her, and it would be something nobody had ever heard of. He'd written a great chorus. He couldn't finish the rest. He let it go. And Patti Smith picked it up and finished it so well that the song lived its entire public life as hers. You know that feeling when you left something half done because it wasn't ready, and someone else picked it up and made it what it needed to be? That's a specific kind of loss that doesn't have a clean name. Number 4. Eric Clapton is one of the most celebrated guitarists who ever lived. This entry is barely about him at all. Number 4. White Room, Cream. Writers, Jack Bruce and Pete Brown. Cream, White Room. That guitar tone that doesn't sound like anything else. The wah-wah solo that guitar players still study in rooms today. The atmosphere of the whole thing. Cinematic, almost orchestral, doing something psychedelic blues rock wasn't doing anywhere else at that moment.
In a white room with black curtains.
When people talk about Cream, they talk about Clapton, almost always. Here's who wrote White Room: Jack Bruce and Pete Brown. Jack Bruce, the bassist and vocalist. That part isn't surprising to most people. Pete Brown is the name almost nobody knows. Pete Brown was a beat poet, not a musician in the conventional sense. He worked in the same literary underground as Allen Ginsberg, part of a parallel British counterculture, doing readings, performing poetry, and building something outside the mainstream. He met Jack Bruce in the mid-1960s and they started writing together, and what they wrote is essentially everything Cream recorded that matters. White Room, words by Pete Brown, music by Jack Bruce.
Near the station.
Sunshine of Your Love, the most famous song Cream ever made. Words by Pete Brown, music by Bruce and Clapton. I Feel Free, Politician, Deserted Cities of the Heart, all Pete Brown. Both White Room and Sunshine of Your Love made Rolling Stone's 500 greatest songs of all time list. Their lyricist was a man who never played a note on a single Cream record, never stood on their stage, has a fraction of the name recognition of any member of the band. Pete Brown passed away in 2023 at the age of 82. The songs are still playing everywhere. His name is still nowhere on the wall. Being the invisible architect of something that gets remembered differently, that's not just injustice, it's a specific kind of invisible. Number 3, a song Tom Scholz built in his basement, and the reason it still matters connects to a song you would never have predicted. Number 3, More Than a Feeling, Boston, writer Tom Scholz. Put on the first 10 seconds of this song, the guitar, that opening motion. Tell me you don't feel it somewhere specific. Tom Scholz built More Than a Feeling in a basement apartment in Massachusetts. He had a degree from MIT in electrical engineering. He literally designed and built his own recording equipment.
When I'm tired and thinking cold.
The Rockman, which became a piece of gear guitarists still chase. He sent a demo tape to Epic Records in 1976. They signed him. He called it Boston. Hit the top 5 in the US. The debut album became one of the best-selling debut rock records in American history. Now here's the part that doesn't get said enough. 1991, Kurt Cobain came up with a guitar riff in rehearsal. When he played it for the band, bassist Chris Novoselic reportedly said, "That is so ridiculous." Cobain himself thought it was too familiar. He said flat out, in his own words, "It was such a cliched riff. It was so close to a Boston riff or Louie Louie." He made the band play it for an hour and a half anyway. That riff became Smells Like Teen Spirit, the song that changed rock radio, the song that is often credited with ending the commercial era that More Than a Feeling helped define. Tom Scholz found out. He said he took it as a major compliment, even if it was completely accidental. At the 1992 Reading Festival, Nirvana actually played a few bars of More Than a Feeling before launching into Teen Spirit, a wink or a jab. Scholz wasn't completely sure which. He said regardless, it was an honour. Tom Scholz wrote the song that inspired the song that replaced the world it came from. I don't know what to call that, but I think about it every time I hear either one.
Name of a girl I used to know.
Number 2, I'm going to name one song, but this is really about a lot more than one song. Stay with me. Number 2, You Give Love a Bad Name. Bon Jovi, co-writer Desmond Child. That opening chord, shot through the heart, everything that follows. If you were anywhere near rock radio when this dropped, you know what it did to a room. It went to number 1. It became one of the defining rock singles of the decade. John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora wrote it, that's true. But a third name is on that song, Desmond Child. And if you follow that name, here's where it goes. Desmond Child is one of the most successful rock songwriters in the history of the format, except he was never in any of the bands. He's worked entirely from behind the scenes for 50 years. In 1979, he co-wrote I Was Made for Loving You with Paul Stanley for Kiss. The Kiss faithful largely despised it, called it disco, called it a sellout. It became Kiss's biggest-selling single of all time. Paul Stanley was so impressed that he introduced Child to John Bon Jovi. On that first meeting, they wrote You Give Love a Bad Name, then Living on a Prayer, then Bad Medicine. Then Desmond hooked up with Steven Tyler and Joe Perry and wrote Dude Looks Like a Lady for Aerosmith. He co-wrote Poison with Alice Cooper, I Hate Myself for Loving You with Joan Jett. He was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2008. One man, working largely invisible from a room no one was looking at, co-wrote what amounts to the backbone of 80s hard rock radio. Rock mythology has always loved the image of the artist writing alone, born fully formed in a garage, no outside help. Desmond Child's existence quietly dismantles that myth. He helped build the soundtrack of an era, from behind the glass. Whether that changes how you feel about those songs, I think you already know where you stand on it, and you're probably already in the comments. Number 1, we're going all the way back, because the most important pair of songwriters in rock history are two names that most rock fans have never spoken out loud. Number 1, Hound Dog, Elvis Presley. Writers, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. Written in approximately 15 minutes. Elvis Presley, 1956. Hound Dog, the snarl, the timing, the way the whole thing moves like something primal, was finally let out. When people People argue about the single moment that announced rock and roll, the cultural explosion, the thing that couldn't be stopped. This song is always in the conversation. Here's what most people don't know. Hound Dog was written in about 15 minutes in a car by two teenagers. Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller were both 19 years old in 1952. They were white Jewish kids from the East Coast who'd moved to Los Angeles and grown up on black music and found each other. A band leader named Johnny Otis brought them in to write a song for a singer named Willie Mae Thornton, Big Mama Thornton. They went out between sessions, sat in a car, wrote the whole thing in roughly 15 minutes and came back in.
Crying all the time. You went to the
Thornton recorded it on August 13th, 1952. It went to number 1 on the R&B charts and stayed there for 7 weeks. She received a check for $500. Lieber and Stoller received a check for $1,200, which bounced. Elvis didn't learn the song from Thornton's original. He saw a lounge act in Las Vegas, Freddie Bell and the Bell Boys, doing a rewritten novelty version of it. He put his own fire underneath it.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
And in 1956, the Elvis version hit number 1 simultaneously on the pop, country and R&B charts. One of the best-selling singles of all time. Lieber and Stoller watched that happen, and then they kept working.
Crying all the time. Well, you ain't
Jailhouse Rock, Kansas City, Yakety Yak, Charlie Brown, Stand By Me. On Broadway, they wrote the skeletal architecture of early rock and roll from a room nobody outside the industry was looking at.
and they said you was high-classed.
Two teenagers who wrote Hound Dog in 15 minutes in a car spent the next 2 decades quietly building the foundation of a genre. The song that launched a cultural revolution was written in a car in 15 minutes by teenagers.
Yeah, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine.
And the woman who first recorded it received $500. Rock and roll has been carrying that secret since 1952.
And you ain't no friend of